I wanted to do a run through of my horror series, The Derelict, in much the same way I did with Project Marcia, and sort of do a director's commentary of sorts. I'm not going to watch all of the dialogue. I'm going to be talking over it, so if you want to see what the story of this map, you'll have to play yourself or watch my other walkthrough, which won't include the intro sequence we're about to see. But I actually have made some changes, like I forced the player. So if you don't know, this map is a survival horror map. Think along the lines of Dead Space, which is fairly ambitious in a lot of ways. So I have the storyline is that you are scavengers, and you found a derelict UAC ship floating out here, and so you're going to go onto it and get a bunch of stuff that you want. I'm going to take the rifle. I love the rifle. And I actually rigged up a reloading system. Yeah, now I said it where you can't leave this room until you've shown the game that you know how to reload. It's unfortunate that it has to be bound to input 1. So you're about to see this little intro room is kind of interesting because it's super simple, but I actually have a decent amount of things that I wanted to make happen here. I wanted the player to have some choices about what they wanted to bring. I wanted to teach them about the ammo boxes. Yeah, and I need to rig that so she doesn't say that twice. I also have this guide here to walk you through some of the things you need to know. I tried to give the players a lot of ways to figure out how this map goes, because I feel like it's so very different. It's so very different. I even have like a hint system. If you get stuck, hold tab for 3 seconds to reveal hints. ZMannZilla did a playthrough of this a while ago, and he had a lot of great things to say about it, and a lot of constructive criticism too. I'll get to that when we get to it. But at one point, about halfway through the map, or maybe 3/4 of the way, he gets stuck. And I was sad because, well, you'll see, I made it more obvious, but I thought it was fairly obvious. And also, there was a hint system. Yeah, so here is the new intro sequence, and I'm about to show you a trick I did. That blood looks like it's floating in space. Very proud of that. Now I'm on here. So one of the first things I wanted to do, yeah, I have Roxby talking about some small issues on your end. I also want to explain why your character doesn't say anything. I didn't want to have some of that back and forth dialogue, because I can create issues with immersion. But I wanted to show the player right away that this UAC ship has got some problems. So one of the first things they do, aside from the weird signal breaking up, to ratchet up the tension slowly, because at least the first map in this series, you can't do things too fast. The door doesn't work right.
Union Aerospace Corporation.
Power with the people.
I also spent a lot of time here making sure everything looked all grimy and slimy and dirtied up and gross. I wanted to make it look like it's been out here for a while, and complement some of the things that the modules do on their own, but they absolutely require some love to really look a certain way. I'll get back to this thing in a minute. I made that a lot more obvious earlier on. I hope you've played the map, so I'm going to, whoever's watching this, I hope you guys have played the map, so I can walk through some things a bit faster. But I really want to give you a breakdown of how I did this, what decisions I was making, how I pulled some tricks off, and I also want to, after this playthrough, so if you'll stick around, I also want to show, I want to walk through more specifically what I did and how. So if you go up here, I wanted to get the player a hint that some bad stuff had happened if they decide to look up here. They're not going to be in here yet. I did add a sprint. You can see my stamina up there recharging. I still don't know if I like that ghost being there or not. This is probably the thing that if I could return to, I'd find like better sounds, make this be better. But I wanted to start off with the, the conceit that you're doing your job, you're being a scavenger. So first thing we do is going to walk around. I had that little sound trigger after that. It's all normal so far. Gonna come back here. Very mundane. Except seeing organs in there. I also want to point out that so now we got lights, now we got power. She opens the doors. I like to have her, your person in the chair, so to speak, up there helping you out with things. What was I saying? Dang it. Oh no, I'll get back to it. I'm kind of dying right now, by the way. So there's some blood, things have gone a little wrong. So this is the first little jump scare coming up, which is not really my favorite way of doing horror, but there's only so many things that I can do in Doom because the game makes you so equipped and so powerful, and it's hard to take that away without it also just feeling unpleasant. I danced as close to that as I could, I think. It's why you have the magazines at all. It's not just a step towards realism, it's also to give you an extra thing you've got to manage. I don't think players are really going to be very scared during this. I watched my friend play through this, and he definitely got spooked at a few parts. He definitely jumped once or twice, but I imagine it's more about... I think I've just built an interesting mood and interesting ambiance. But anyway, so I do have some of these scares here, but I try to, like... I don't just have, like, a face show up and, like, scream at you. I tried to balance it out, as you're going to see here, with some, like, warning that something's coming. So I have that sound creep in, I have it turn red. I have her comment on it, but again, we can't talk back. Trying to build up that sense of isolation. I also like to make this module was great for what I wanted in this room, but I didn't want to have this extra chunk over here that confused players, so I just imagined that there were these large, like, doors here, and one's busted up and stuck upwards, and one is over here. This we're going to get to back in a bit. I do something neat with that. I have done this once or twice. You'll notice also, a lot of people love to make custom geo, and I love custom geo. You guys know that. But for some of these, I wanted to stick with the pre-built modules because they include details that are very tedious to build, and I'll show you in a bit, the logic just for this progress was insanely tedious. So I did things to add to the modules, but I think I actually made the right call. Like, I couldn't get this lighting effect very easily, for example. This room looks super dumb and bare until you put a bunch of these decals on it, and then you can just see, like, that looks pretty good. I'm going to get this armor just in case so I don't die while I'm talking to something. Stamina. So you're just going through, things are fine. Going to the cargo bay. So the conceit so far that what we've been doing, in theory, is checking these cargo bays, and bay after bay is empty, which is really weird for what's ostensibly a cargo ship. I was trying to build the suggestion that this was not a cargo ship, and it was just acting like a cargo ship, that it was a facade for the secret research facility we discover it really is. So you come down here. This is a place people get confused a lot. So I wanted you to come down here and see there's no doors, there's no anything. I think this is actually, I don't even think I put those there. I think that's part of the debris. Yeah. So after a while, it's going to give me a hint to go up there and try to make sure that was clear. Because the whole point of this room is that there's pretty much nothing of import in here. So yeah, she says there's definitely a crawl space over here. I've watched some players, and it makes me a little sad sometimes how many players don't know this is a secret door. I was afraid it was too obvious at first. But yeah, but she says it twice. There you go. I really wish that SnapMap would let players make damn comments on your maps, because I don't know how many of the downvotes that I've gotten, which I'm not really too hung up on, but I don't know how many of them are because they just don't like this style of map in Doom. Okay, fine. How many of them are because they got stuck somewhere, something was broken? I had one point, I'll show you in a bit, where things were broken for quite a while, and I had no idea that it was broken. It was like crashing the entire game. I had no idea it was broken at all. And if it had been a single comment that had said, hey, this crashed my game, you know, could have fixed that, but, you know, we can't have nice things. Or if players get, like, stuck here, like, I don't know what to do, which I sound like I'm mocking them, but I just mean, if that happens and you give up, I want to know that I got to make this more obvious somehow.
Authorized personnel only.
So I try to get things to make the player want to come over here and examine. So after a while, she says, head back. Feed's blacking out again. I didn't know any other way of making that sound effect in there. So this room, this was neat. I liked how you actually walk. You keep walking in that one. But I don't like how I can't control this. There's like a occlusion block here that I can't bend. So he's talking to me. Let the fire come at you. It's getting spooky. Oh god. And then there's a gore box. Now to make this happen was very obnoxious, because the reason this plate here is because I put one down that's like one thickness, and then I put another down on top of it that's also one thickness, and that's like a one thickness decal. So I had to show all of this to make that happen. I couldn't just make, because you can't just make a decal spawn, which is a bit obnoxious. I guess I get why, but it's a bit obnoxious. Anyway, so yeah. Weird spooky gore box. Here comes the spook right there. Yeah. Now, it's a little silly to have these ghost kind of things happening, but I'm already having, I wanted to have this, I really wanted this slow build up. Like, we haven't shot anything yet. But I also wanted to get the player a hint. There's another one. That there's cool stuff coming. Because I think that I really like... I'm very proud of my series in a lot of ways, but I know that right at the beginning, and that's also why I added that, one reason I added that intro sequence. It might be hard to tell how good, you know, like, is it really going to be something worth trucking through this slow move speed, especially if you don't know that there's a sprint to make that a bit less tedious. I do think that the slow move speed was essential for the atmosphere I was going for. I don't think I could capture it if you were just bopping around as normal Doom guy speed. It's too obvious you're in a video game and not a scavenger going through. But I did give you a sprint because I don't want to give you, like, old man legs only. Anyway.
Power surge detected. Power offline.
So now I gotta go find the right credentials. I like, this was also a good opportunity for me to force the, oops, ooh, I gotta fix that. I just added that force load up over there. I've gotta make sure that I have that, yep, okay, I know what I gotta do. It's a recent addition. Russian, I guess. I'll fix that for you. I added some things in here, too. As you're gonna see. Some little monitors. So we're walking in here. We turn the power on to make things nice and pretty, because that's, of course, what we would do. But then she says, well, the only way we're going to get through this is if we destroy all the power. So let's blow that up. And then we're going to get the credentials, or the power for this sector. Now, again, it's clearly not all the power, but I don't have control over that. But it turned off this wall was the idea. That sound effect. Yeah, it looks pretty bad. That sound effect, should be an ID chip in the wrist. I wanted to give a reason why we did this spooky, gory thing. I could have just had a key card, but I like this. It shows kind of how you've seen some shit yourself, apparently, if you're willing to just tear this guy's arm off. What was I going to say? Oh, that sound effect. That's very interesting. The one that when you walk in here and it shows the camera angle, which I also very like, especially the little flash of red that happens. That's one of those sound effects that has like 4 sounds rolled into one, so every time you play, you don't know what you're going to get. You know, so there's that screen going crazy. It's just a repeater hooked to a randomizer, toggling it on and off. So there's a dead guy over here. I can barely see in the shadows. You can tell he's actually one of the skeleton guys, but only if you get really close. There's an extra magazine. Look at his arm. This was hard to rig up. The second you grab it, this guy spawns. And he decided not to hit me this time. I actually designed this guy. Where's the other one? I actually designed this guy. I basically want him to hit the player. I know normally that's not a thing you want to do, is force a player to get hit, but I wanted the player to know about the injury mechanics. I think I even said it, where if this guy hits you, you automatically start bleeding, like every time. Because I have this bleeding mechanic. But I got rid of the other ones, I think, because or I modified the others, because it's nice, but it's also kind of complicated. But anyway, so that you would use this health pack over here, because if you take a health pack, it fixes the bleeding. Also, that other zombie, I don't think anyone has ever caught this detail, but he's actually supposed to have come out of this vent right here. I even added the smoke, kind of draw your attention. This is closed when you're first coming through. So now we gotta go to the airlock. We're gonna get out of here. It's the end of the mission. Let's go. Let's do it. Let's go. Oh, God. Oh, wait, what? So I'm very proud of this sequence. I'm really proud of the sound effect of the door opening right on cue. The problem with this one is that I had to make that more obvious that that's what you're supposed to do, but I didn't want to put waypoints because the idea is that she gives you waypoints, not you. So I don't know why you get a waypoint from yourself if she doesn't know what's going on your side of things. So, but I do have this thing that if you try to leave, yeah, it says close the airlock. Yeah, I made this very, very slow. You can see how I use the shake. I wish these looked a little bit better, but it's the best I got. You gotta close it, you gotta do it, and you close it. If you listen closely, you'll hear the sound of the ship leaving. That low rumble, I picked that sound effect because I liked the idea that you were hearing the ship jetting to another airlock. Oh no, now I'm gonna be spookered. Because now there's Zambos. I also made your gun pretty strong. Because if I'm gonna give you limited ammo, you'll see also that I removed glory kills because I just don't think they make for a scary experience, at least early on, because they have that giant UI indicator, and it doesn't make sense that this guy would be like, I'll tear your arm off. I'm that much of a badass. Oh, see, now I'm making the those visions be more intense, where they're actually dragging you from place to place, or maybe not. I actually wanted it to be unclear if they're actually dragging you from place to place, or if it's just a hallucination. Ooh, jeez. I'm actually, surprised I didn't get a bleed there. Got some spooky stuff going on here. So we'll see how the timing works. It's different every time, so I want you to try it. It looks like you're supposed to get up there. He shows up. You are not a match for him. And that happens. That was perfect. Normally, I don't have a way of really precisely scripting the AI's reaction times, but normally he just barely starts to throw it. That was one of the best ones, where it was like right at the end there. Glad I caught that. So now access is granted. We see poor Joe Schmo here. I added some extra grime in this room that I didn't originally have. And then you first see the mouth? There it goes. It was stuck on a guy. It's weird. Do you want the plasma gun? Yeah, I'm gonna take the plasma gun for a bit. So now there's clearly a fight in here. I take great care to try and like all these decals that I put here and all these things that I drop, I try to really make sure that they are very organic looking. Like that you can that each thing has a story. Each element of the design here has a story. Except for the ones that I don't put there, but even then. So I'm going to store the safety glass and see if the game crashes on me. It won't. But this is one of the places where it kept crashing. That and there, actually. So I made this weird spooky wall. And you can actually see there's two what the hell are they called? Come on. Here we go. I could probably perfect that timing. I think at one point it was actually working better than that. But they walk in. They get edified. I spawn a cacodemon and have them explode. But the inside there, you can't even tell really, but those two skulls actually close like a weird mouth. You see that? But at any rate, doesn't matter too much. So you just see this weird spooky conga line. I added a lot of blood too. I think this looks a lot better now. Same with this guy. This guy had a real bad day. So you might come over here and see this thing. It's even got a light flashing on it. And so you're like, oh, I can't get through that. Can I get through that? Nope, that's a lot of goo. I can't get through that giant pile of goo. Oh, bad guys are coming out of the goo. So, do we activate the biopurge?
Biometric mismatch detected. Scanning. Unauthorized personnel
Need
confirmed.
to make her louder, I think.
Expulsion to commit.
See, the thing is, that clip also has at least 2 different sound clips that play. And if it plays one of those sound clips, then it cuts off before she says expulsion to commence. Because I don't want that. I'm not suggesting that the player is in danger right now. I'm just saying the door doesn't, or the thing is not going to turn on. Which this guy, by the way, I used him also to suggest that's important. So half the time it works perfectly, half the time it doesn't. That's what you get when you stack those things and give us no control over which one we get. Anyway. So now we've got the lab. Oh, I really covered that up a little bit more this time. Oh well. Ritual, which is where we're heading eventually. Now we're going to maintenance. So we're trying to get... This is where Z-Man got stuck, by the way. Here we go. Gonna get some more boulats. So I wanted you to see, this is the first text log you see. I was very happy with the idea that I have using the key cards, because they look like a PDA or something to me, but then have this thing hovering above it to like show you, hey, there's a log here. So this is the chief engineer. Our meat is the door. And if you want to read this, you can read it on your own. But I did want to suggest that the reason all this creep is here, and the reason that all those gore piles are everywhere, is because that's like their way of making teleporters, essentially, or making like psychic access to us. I also tried to suggest that he actually fell down the stairs here, hence all the splatter. So you can see this trail here. The idea I had is that was chief engineer whoever, who probably has credentials to get up there. Oop. Seeing some hints of stuff as we follow his blood trail. It's a cacodemon. Big teeth. So here he is. Clearly. Guess I hear them. Tried to suggest this one was full of blood. So now we need his credentials. That's what this was supposed to be here. And now I'm going to actually activate an interesting thing with the repeater here. Watch the FX. See the flashing red? I also add, this fight is supposed to be unwinnable. There's a lot of them. They pretty much just keep coming. And these guys don't come until they see you, thankfully. He got stuck, apparently. That happens sometimes. Yeah, they're dumb. There's like a thing, there's a wall they can't see past here, so as far as I know, I'm not a threat anymore. Come get me, guys. Anyway. Yeah. So I actually had that extra voice show up to tell you just to run, that you just have no way of fighting there. Because everyone attempts to fight right away, which I understand. But I wanted that to be you are outmanned. There's so many of them. But understandably, players didn't understand that right away. And I get it, because they're in the mindset of Doom, not in the mindset of this random guy, and they don't also know necessarily that it's supposed to be you're outmatched. I also wanted to hint at this new unknown character who shows up in the next map. So let's activate that biopurge now. This is the part that crashed the map because, well, this thing turning on and off, if you do it wrong, breaks Doom. So now we got this weird caustic gas coming in. It's gonna clear this lab up. Yeah, I hear those guys behind me. Burning everything. Very proud of the sequence as well. Someone described it as very event horizon, and I can kind of see that. See, completing purge is the thing I would see half the time when things broke. So yeah, you burned this down. Now now it's clean. It's nice and clean in here. It's all good. It's all fine. Everything's good. I tried to use flashing lights to direct players because I also have some audio logs in here. Yeah, so I wanted to suggest this creep happens because, like, biomatter meat, essentially, in the presence of weird demon psychic energy, it starts to grow and... Go away, you're creepy. So now she's going to tell me we're at airlock number blank, airlock T. So you might think airlock 2, it's actually airlock 3, but you don't know that yet. They're going to take advantage of that in this next room. Here you can see some more of that creep happening. I liked this. I was very happy with this. You can actually hear the slime in there moving around. Anyway. So got another... Oh, that's right, that's right. I actually had the idea that in hell, all the stone is actually run through by this creep, where hell is the stone temples and stuff are actually like organic. Like if you cut open the wall, there'd be like guts in there. Just a really creepy idea. I'm gonna blast through these guys. Just wanted to give you a chance to actually shred some Zambos. So now you're starting to see the pit show up. God, the logic on this is nuts. I can't wait to show you guys what I had to do here. So here's this guy who's clearly in a containment lab. Again, building the idea of these, how the demons and this mythos, I guess, that I'm building, whatever you want to call it, how they operate here. Because again, I'm trying to make this outside of the Doom universe, strictly speaking. I really couldn't help but remix and sort of make some of the story my own. So yeah, like they have this habit, these guys in particular, of like organizing guts into piles, and then we learn why. Here's some extra guns here. Here's a shotgun in this guy. Very proud of that. That someone did not like him, but I'm not gonna. So you're gonna get this. Again, sort of hint of what's coming here. Things look bad. Gonna look around a bit. Another log. So this actually comes up 2 maps from now. So I say these things grow very, very fast. They seem to grow without limitations on their resources. They just sort of grow as though they don't need resources. And also they can seek out more living tissue, which happens in the 3rd map. You actually get entombed in some stuff for a bit, have to fight your way out. So this one clearly was being just overrun. This little holding chamber. There's nothing over here. It's just this dead guy who got punched really hard. Alright, but now we're at airlock 2. We're gonna escape. Wait. Wait, I thought we were escaping. Oh, jeez. Wait. What? Oh my god. That was weird. That has, in all of my testing, that has never happened before. What the hell? Yeah, normally you... What the fuck? I've never had that happen or heard it reported. That's bad. Yeah, this little fight's kind of crazy because they're shooting at you from places you can't see. And there he goes. That was very dramatic. God, their eyes glow. Oh, jeez. They're everywhere. They're in the shadows. So then the door is going to open. So now I get to get out of this little nightmare hell realm. As I get out of here. So yeah, I don't know why that happened. I've never had that happen before. That was a weird problem. I actually made the Hell Knights a lot more vulnerable. Given that you are also much more vulnerable. You can also see I've got that pulse happening again. That red pulse. Oops, I didn't reload. I sometimes forget that my reload can't work like oh jeez. Oh god, I'm doing terrible right now. I'm gonna die. I suck. Yeah, I don't know why I was doing that so badly. So now I'm back here, which kind of sucks, but it's, you know, when you see the amount of work that I put into, yeah, I made those guys blow up when you hit them now. When you see the amount of work that I put into everything else, you'll see why it was hard for me to add in even more checkpoints and spawn points. It just became a big problem with the logic. I don't know why he's stuck. He was just shooting at me. Okay, I'm almost out of here. Let's keep going. Oh god. So there's that stupid problem where the gun won't bob until you use, yeah, either secondary fire or switch weapons. So now we're getting out of here. 2 more of these guys. I'm trying to stick with the more meaty and organic looking guys for now because I really like the idea that hell is, well, I mean, this hell is very like Lovecraftian. So now we're going to Ritual. I'm gonna have a spooky camera sequence.
We will find you. We will consume your soul.
There we go, that's the end. So that's the Derelict. That's the first one. There's a lot of things that even now I would still go back and add, but it's very hard to do. With all the stuff that I can add in plenty more set dressing, but the logic itself, I've had so many problems that I just don't want to touch it again. Sorry, I'm still dying here. Let's run through some of those things that I did here really quick. As soon as I get access to, there we go. There we go. All right, so this is that first room. I have it set up so this closes right when the map starts, which I like that sound effect, starting things off. I set him as a survivor. Oh, that's right. So this is the thing. What I've got to do now is, hold on. I'm gonna fix this right in front of you right now. Let's do the unused. Let's set this boolean to false. It was supposed to be set to false, but I guess it wasn't. For whatever reason. It's supposed to be set to false by that signal, like when I did it. So why is it being set true? Hold on. I'm not sure. At any rate, getting this, I had a teleportation sequence that moves you from here to here for the airlock. Getting this to work was a goddamn nightmare. Because they gave us the teleportation, but they didn't let us remove the sound or visuals from it. So it's super obvious that you've teleported. So I actually originally had a camera facing a black blocking volume here. So when it faded to black here, it would switch to that camera and then switch back so you wouldn't hear yourself teleporting, which just ruins everything. But then now I actually have it. Instead, I have it cycle to the sequence. Now, I want to show you one of the tricks I pulled here. You see this glass? You didn't see that glass in any of the shots. You would have looked like this. That's not how it looked. I had the glass turn on and off, and the reason I did is because, so if you look at this guy, there's no way for me to put gore here, and there's no decals that are actually like pure glass. In fact, this is one of the better ones in terms of being pretty much transparent. Well, except for the hex pattern. So what I did, which was very tedious, was I just moved it until it was right up against an opening in the hex pattern. I doubt you even noticed a little bit over there, as I was as good as I could get. And then I put the tiniest, and I mean the damn tiniest. There he is. There's my decal. There's my 1x1 decal that you can see right there. So that's how I made that work. That's how I had that blood floating in space. I just had to brute force it. I'm gonna check really quick. I'm gonna be really mad if there was another one that I just didn't look at closely enough that would be just as good. Like, let's see. No, see, they're all like, they all have too much. No, I feel like you can actually, even with the bar off to the side, I think that's still actually better. Anyway, that's not important. Sorry. I'm getting distracted here. So let me show you what's in the airlock room. So this is the logic. And God, I wish it was more organized. I tried, guys. I tried. And at this point, this is one of those projects that with me just ballooned. I tried to keep things organized, but my God, so much stuff had to happen here to make these happen, to make the lights flash, make the alarm go off, rather, not the lights flash, to have the shaking. Ugh. There might be a more elegant way of doing it, but not that I've found. Not that I had found at that point. This was, again, early in my career. Yeah, you can see all the actually end up color coding, and I think I labeled a bunch of the triggers for what they are, what they do. Okay. You can see my little rainbow of patterns here. So to make that one ghost guy, all I did was start and finish encounters using a repeater with a sound effect hooked to it. I might add I think this randomizer was also a part of that. No, that was a part of the explosion. So to make this thing look cool when you shot it, and as opposed to just having one explosion in the center of a blocking thing, I actually have a bunch of explosions here that are each randomly triggered whenever you shoot at this thing. So if you shoot with the assault rifle in particular, it looks really cool. I've used that a couple times.
Power surge detected. Power security.
Security?
So you can see how I
Surge detected.
took the sound,
Power offline.
Security station.
and I just dropped the pitch each time. I wanted to still maintain that idea that the station's not in good shape. Okay. Let's keep going. So again, I just had triggers that had to be activated. Actually, I realized looking back, I almost certainly could have used way more booleans than I did. It looks like this time I did. But I definitely could have used way more booleans for some of these than I did. Some of these I just had them be deactivated and enabled by things. And I'm not actually sure if that's better, but I probably could have had a boolean for like first way through, second way through. That probably would have helped a lot. But, you know, hindsight. So here's what I was talking about earlier. That's how I made that happen. Thankfully, players don't have a good enough memory to notice that difference. Which is not a knock on anyone playing, obviously. It's just, you know, the way our brains work. Alright. Anything else I want to show off? Going through this room. Yeah, see, here's with these skulls where it's supposed to be like a mouth that closed. That was a recent addition, and it, for all the logic that I had to do in here to make that work, let me go ahead and simplify things a bit. For all the logic I had to do in here to make this work, and all the logic I had to do in here to make all of this work, like, look at this nightmare. Look at this. Look at this. This room. I probably spend more time in this room than any other room. Actually, I don't know if that's true, but I certainly had more problems to solve in this room because it kept crashing, among other things. At one point, I actually had a timer set up that would play on your HUD. so that when the game crashed, I could have a freeze frame of exactly at what point the game crashed. So I would know when I went back here to look what signal that happened when. Was it the one at
Access
0?
granted.
The one at, well, the point is they all have like the 26.4, one at 1, the one at 2, like what was causing it? I think it was the 26.4. It was the this blocking volume being disappeared because I had it set as solid, and if you have something set as solid and you go to delete it, at least if you have a lot of things in your map, it crashes the damn program. Ugh. I don't know how replicatable that is. I don't know if it happens every time, but at least sometimes it happens. And it was happening then, consistently. That was fun. You can see the little gore, little spook fest I had going on here. Let's go ahead and lock those. I don't need them to be unlocked. Let's go and just lock everything, what am I saying? Yeah, I'm very happy with how the red looks on this and how much depth I got there from very little stuff. Yeah. All right, let's look at the yeah, so we got the prison room, and again, you can just see my sequences of oh, they're locked. These are named like Spoop 1, Spoop 2, Spoop 3. You can just see the trigger sequences I had to rig up here. It really became important that I color code them pretty quickly. Oh god, this room also made my head hurt because it connects to so many other parts of the map. Ugh. I'm dying. You see I had to put lamps everywhere in here, which kind of sucks, but it's just the way things... I wish they just gave us a big lamp. I want big lamp. Please give big lamp. Anyway. I don't think there's anything else to show off here, really. Yeah, so if you have any questions, that's how I did stuff in this. Oh, I'm an idiot. Yes, there is stuff to show off. I suck. Let's go over here to the grid room. Wait, the grid room is that. Let's go over here to the, over here. Okay. I forgot to show you the core logic of this thing. I'm dumb. This is surprisingly a bit more elegant. So this whole sequence over here, this was the injury system. So if you got hit, there was a chance of being injured. It would tell you if you had a chance of a minor or a major trauma, severe trauma. It would start this beeping. Think like Half-Life. Oh, that's right. I had to go from. Anyway, and then you could actually you could fix your vitals with you got a health pack, but that's not important right now. I have this thing that when you die, it fades the camera. I guess you guys got to see that earlier. But here's the most important thing, probably. That is the ammunition system, or yeah, the loadout and ammunition system. Now, I only am allowed to I can only give the player one weapon at a time without some crazy fuckery in the Derelict series, which sucks. At least if I'm going to have the reload system, which I do think is a key part of making this a different experience, even though it's very not Doom. At least sans brutal Doom, I guess. Anyway. And that's because in order to make the reload animation, a key part is taking away all of your ammunition so that he puts the weapon down and it says 0. Then I can make the sound effects and have you put the weapon back up with a full magazine. The problem is, if you have multiple weapons in Doom, the second you are empty, the second you reach empty, it auto-swaps. I think you can actually tell it not to do that, I forget, but you'd have to go... I don't even think you can do it while you're in-game in SnapMap. You'd have to do it like when you're in the main menu of SnapMap. And there's just no way I could have a core part of the map be contingent on whether or not players have that turned off or on, especially when the default, if it exists, is for it to auto-swap. Because that's what it does to me. And I haven't messed with that. Anyway. So that's obnoxious. But it kind of makes sense for the horror set anyway. The horror design anyway, that you're not carrying loads of guns in. So the way this worked is when you actually would use a trigger, which I don't have any here right now, to pick up a given weapon. these sound effects. Kind of align with each. I'd set your damage. Pretty much everything had custom ammunition and custom damage values, so I used a lot of booleans here. Also the ammo upgrades. Yeah, to make the battle rifle feel good, I had to buff it to 210. The shotgun is 150. Everything else is 190. Believe it or not, the shotgun's pretty good. At least in the cases you're going to use it. So the way the reloading worked is very simple. You have this magazine. Whenever you press the reload button, so input 1, you spend 1 on a successful spend, or an unsuccessful spend. Sorry, you do this. It says you can't. On a successful spend, which is over here, I'm dumb. You take 1, it gets ammo, but it takes all your ammo first, all of it. It gives you that ammo 1.5 seconds later, which is pretty generous, really. And then depending on the weapon you have in hand, or just in your kit, so same thing for our purposes, it plays one of these sounds in sequence. Pretty easy. Now some of these, like this shotgun, has a repeater. Oh well. So it actually does this like 6 times, 7 times. To sound like you're loading the shots and then does that. Now unfortunately, there probably is a way I could rig up this repeater to only repeat for the number of times that you have shells to load by tracking number of shells based on shots and then having a variable track that, but unfortunately I just think there's too many ways for that to get fucked up, so I'm not going to do it. Like if you change weapons and change back to the shotgun, for example. Who knows? Also, it's just an extra bit of logic I just didn't want to deal with. Spread is similar. It's got a repeater that you activate to drain, and then a repeater that activates or is going for regen. Always risky to have like lots of repeaters, but it's been working more or less okay. It's not the worst thing I've had. It's not what makes the map crash for the most part. Here's the guide over here. If you want me to go in more detail on how the vitals system worked. Oh, I finally found a way to stop it. If you hit 20%, it no longer bleeds you. Because you actually, if you had severe trauma, you were bleeding out slowly. Ugh. Anyway. Well, I hope this was interesting. I want to do the others at some point, and I know there's a lot of you who really want me to go check out your maps. I promise, I'm getting to it. I'm just tired, busy, and I've got my head is kind of wrapped around revisiting these, I guess. It's just where my motivation is, at least for the moment, when I have the time to sit down and do this. But I promise you, I've even got a document where I'm pulling out everybody. I've had like 3 more comments on YouTube, and I'm trying to get to you guys. I promise.